All right, hey, this Mango, the GOAT. I brought my favorite brother back on here, Santana Banga one time. Hey, we talked to Santana Banga in less than a year ago. But as I told y'all, less than a year ago, my brother don't stop. This man don't stop. He keep the grind going. He keep everything going. And I'm going to jump straight to it. My dude got a new single. That motherfucker whamming. That bitch whamming. And on top of the fact that all his other things been like fire, his new single he coming with is whamming. And hey brother, before I start I get on my shit and I'm gonna start just talking about your work. I'll let you talk to the people, get your introduction out, brother.
Right. Well, you know what it do. This your boy Santana Banga, man, the one and only. You know what I'm saying? The multi-fascinated artist, producer, super producer, Florida's go-to producer. You know, the man that can make anything happen. If you behind them prison walls on the wall, who can drop the mixtape. As long as you got an iPhone, that it is what it is. It's your boy Banga, man, Florida's very own.
Hey man, and the thing that's so beautiful to me about the whole thing, right, is you a fan favorite, and I don't have many people. I probably had like 4 or 5 people come on my platform. Other than that, it's me just talking to myself, and I'm crazy enough to fucking do it, right? I can sit here and just get lit and have a whole conversation with myself talking to hundreds of thousands of peoples, in which I hit in the first year. And with that whole first year statement being said, you damn sure one of the people that supported this platform for involuntary immigrants. So, as a brother, I appreciate it. And as somebody with this platform, I appreciate it even more. You know what I mean? When it came to
that love return, man, time 10, man. You already know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of y'all may not understand this because some of y'all just listen and hear, but you don't really listen and understand. The man here, he made my fucking original intros when I was coming on. When it came down to mental liberations, he dropped the beat for that. And it was anything for this platform. He ain't hesitate one time. He ain't fucking none of that. And I don't come from favoritism when it comes to this brother and his work. And as you can see, if you listen to all the people that have ever dealt with or listened to or this brother's work, it speaks for his fucking self. He honestly don't have to come on here and say shit to nobody. So you're welcome. I wish he would tell you right now, you fucking welcome. Like, he doing a luxury for you motherfuckers. And it's my duty knowing this brother for, man, shit, bro. We known each other for a long time. And my brother he's humble to his people, and he does for, like, it's a lot of motherfuckers that make music and they're great. They got talent and they da-da-da-da-da. This man, this dude been like holding it down for his people and just the people of the culture for so fucking long. Like, for real. And he's humble about it. He don't never say, motherfucker owe me, none of that shit.
Right.
And me as a music fan, I used to do music and so on and so forth, but me as a philosopher, me as an entertainer, me as all that, I appreciate that shit, man. And even though we hitting 4 minutes in, and it seems like I'm overdoing it right now, sure, but y'all don't understand the seriousness of this situation. You fucking welcome.
That's love, bro.
And yeah, and Home Depot, man, you want to get into that or you want to get onto something else? Because we go raw.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
I gotta, man, brother, listen, I gotta tell them about how the story go with Home Depot on my behalf.
Right.
So, as y'all know, I had back problems I was dealing with. One night, I'm on a shitload of Perkies and alcohol mixed together. My G hit me up. It's about 11:30 in the middle of the night. He said, "Hey, bruh, I got some shit I'm about to send you." I say, "What that is?" He said, "I'm about to send it to you, boy. It's real. I done hooked up with on Coop."
Yeah, Coop DeVille. Shout out Coop DeVille, man.
He said, I done hooked up with Coop DeVille. Coop DeVille, shout out to Coop, another brother I known for a long time. And he said, I done hooked up with Coop DeVille and this shit it. And I'm like, okay, you know, everything he hit me is hard. So I don't know, you know, what new is fucking coming. And then I bullshit you not, high as fuck on these perkies and alcohol, and I'm fucked up, and I listened to it that night. 4 times. I put it on repeat 4 times. I woke up in the morning, sobering up, and I was like, bro, I swear to God, that nigga sent me one of the hardest songs I've ever heard last night. But I said, maybe I was fucked up. Let me throw that shit back on. Before I threw it on the beats, I jump in the charger and I ride a little bit and I crank that bitch on. The beat hit with the subwoofers and shit. And I was like, man, god damn. That's my introduction to Home Depot.
Trust.
On the back end of this episode where y'all listening, I'm going to play it. But that was my introduction to it. And fire track, man. Like, you know, tell them how it just came about, brother. Like,
well, you know, how can I start off with it? I've been knowing Coop DeVille for a minute, you know, but you know, he's from the city. But we never did no music together. So, you know, back in the day, man, I was so click tight. Like, you know, it was all about my brothers, you know what I'm saying? Anybody affiliated, you know, that's who I was doing music with. But, you know, it's like, man, at the end of the day, man, this the city. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need more unity in the city. We need more, you know, artists actually, you know what I'm saying, doing features and, you know, and not just regular features like these features that nobody see coming. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
You know, so linked up with bro. Actually, my wife cousin had set to play together then, but we already had like, you know, conversations prior and stuff like that. Like I supported his album, you know what I'm saying, when he dropped his album, and you know, bought it on Apple Music and all that. Real deal support, not just no social media support. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, so my wife cousin made the play, man. Exchanged numbers. We chopped it up. Then we met up at the studio on just me, him, and the engineer. You know what I'm saying? And we just got to it, man. We discussed what the track was gonna be. But you know, being that I produced the beat, like I done heard the track about 1,000 times before I even hit the studio, so I already got my lyrics down pat. You know what I'm saying? Cause like I build everything from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? From the drum pattern to the sound to the melodies to my flow, it's all built from the ground up. So by the time I get to the studio, I already know what I'm on because I don't like to waste time when I'm working. You know what I'm saying? Like I like to, you know what I'm saying? Like get everything going. So, you know, I explained to him what the track gonna be. He didn't even know what kind of song it was. And that's the crazy part about it. He didn't even know what kind of song it was gonna be. You know, he didn't get the beat until we was at the studio. So he wrote his verse, you know what I'm saying? Like he kind of wrote it and then freestyle at the same time, you know, while we was in there, man. And shit, we just came out with something crazy, you know? We just came out with something crazy. I spit the hook to him. He was like, yeah, but that thing fire. And we just came out with something crazy.
And so I got people listening to me all around the world, right? And all around the world, they get an introduction to American rap music, you know, trap music, you know, all that, drill music, all that shit. All the genres of rap music you can get, and it come from all over. And I guess, like, for me, I'm extra hyped about it because I'm from Ocala. I'm from Ocala, Florida. And, you know, it's crazy as shit, right? Because like Ocala, Florida got so much fucking talent. So much. And like I just seen the Winter Olympics and it's a sister that hit gold from Ocala in the Winter Olympics. Black girl. Shout outs to her. You know what I mean? And throughout the years, bro, it's always been some kind of Ocala this, Ocala that at different things and so forth. And we honestly, we got a style, but the Ocala music is versatile, right?
Right.
And when I listen to like you, Coot DeVille, throw it back. Shout out to Strange G's.
Shout out to Strange G, man.
Shout
Shout out to motherfucking Strange G, man, the big dogs of the city.
I mean that '90s era, that, and
Right,
even in the
right.
2000s they came, with all that, and
And shit, hold on too, man. Gotta throw Hollywood and Coon and Thug Pimp,
Hollywood
uh,
Coon, shout outs
Walk
to them,
Boy,
yeah,
all that. See now, all that.
all that, man. Man, man, hey, Willow the Don
Right.
had a track, Pusher, between Pusher and Strange G's Watching Me. Growing up, I mean, that's why they watching me. I guess that's why they watching me. Is it the way I walk? Man, that was my shit. And what's
Right, right.
crazy is it was so much shit. Like, I think Jay-Z had tracks and all this shit had, like, all these different people was on billboards, and like that's when rap was like really, really like hitting numbers.
Right.
And I swore them local dudes was bigger. Because that was like home.
I'm gonna tell you like this. So this was my introduction to like all of them boys, man. So uh this had to be middle school time, man. When I got kicked out of middle school, my mom was working at the car reform store out there at Parkside. And these cats used to come through and drop their mixtapes, albums right there in the store.
Yeah.
So like I met like Big Pete, of course Strange G's.
Hey, shout out to Big Pete, man. You
Shout out to
mentioned his
Big
name,
Pete.
but Big Pete
Yeah,
was my G, man.
Yeah, man. Like, that's a super throwback, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Super throwback. But yeah, like I got introduced to all those mixtapes and albums like way back then.
Yeah.
And I used to always like my mom used to always try to, promote my shit too. She like, yeah, my boys rap too, my boys rap too. But like seeing them in the city, man, these boys had like the vehicle raps, the club events. They was on Hollywood and Coon was on Rap City in the basement. Like these were niggas like, you know what I'm saying, I looked up to, and still to this day, like because they literally showed the way. They literally paved the way for
Yeah.
for almost every artist in the city. Like they kind of showed the blueprint, man. Like they let you know that this shit obtainable. Like anybody can get it. You just gotta grind hard for it. You know what I'm saying? Make those sacrifices and do what you gotta do to get it. It's easy to make a name for yourself, man. It's harder to hold that name. So like, as long as you just keep doing the work and like taking that stuff step by step, brick by brick. You know what I'm saying? Like you gonna make some noise. You gonna shake something. So like I used to admire what them boys was doing, man. Like, and it's crazy because like when I turned, I think when I was like 18 years old, that's when like, I said in my mind like, man, I gotta work with these cats, man. Like I gotta figure out how to work with them, what I gotta do. Like, man, I respected what they were doing. I'm like, man, if I want to make it, I gotta be a part of something. Like I gotta learn what they doing. You know what I'm saying? Like get them to notice me, get them to talk to me or something, man. And it's like the law of attraction. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh yeah.
things just started happening, man. Them boys started, what I'm saying, opening up doors for me, man. On mainly Rod, you know what I'm saying, Roddy Rod with Strange G. Man, that man opened up so many doors for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for me to go from sitting in that store, seeing these albums get dropped off, to me going off and doing my music, and then working with the same cats that I looked up to, like all that shit just showed me that anything is possible, man. Like you just gotta do the network, you know what I'm saying? Grind, don't be afraid to move around, like, and that'd be a lot of things that be wrong with people who, you know, go to who chase their dreams or want to chase their dreams. They be afraid to move around. They be afraid to do certain things. They be afraid of the letdown, the setback. You know what I'm saying? They be afraid of the mistakes. And at the end of the day, man, we all learning as we go with this. So, got a dream, chase it, believe in yourself, believe in your capabilities to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? And just, build that house brick by brick. Don't worry about, how long it's gonna be or how long it's gonna take, or you never know. You know what I'm saying? Like don't worry about the time frame or nothing, man. Just do that shit step by step, build that house brick by brick. And before you know it, man, you're gonna be right there where you need to be at.
You know, one of the craziest things to me, it's like how big Worldstar is right now, right?
Right, right,
Before Worldstar hit, my mentor, right, and me and him talk every such and such months, right? But I mean, this brother talked to me when I was a young adolescent. Like I was fucking up a lot, you know, at a young
right.
age, and he was one of them cats that taught me, man, nah, you don't want to fuck with that, bro. You want to do this, you know, this and that, and it was either pushing me to sports. He always working with the babies. I want to say like teenagers, but I call them the babies now because I'm in OG
Right,
status. But like he did that with me, and he was in his 20s. That shit rare, you know what I mean? And
right,
at the time, you know, he went by Green Eye Bandit, but I call him TC. But you know, he had grits and eggs and shit like that, right?
right,
He had
right.
the
I remember that. I remember that.
gritsandeggs.com. And that was
Mhm.
with gritsandeggs.com, he had all these southern artists from all
Right, right.
and
So you gotta be from Central Florida to know about that right there, man.
exactly. And you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And when I was doing music, like he took one of my tracks and listen to my music later versus listen to my music earlier when he took one of my tracks. It was like, man, he showed me extra love because that shit, when I listened to my shit, like that shit was
Right,
trash when I first started out, in my opinion. You know, but I mean, it was good to somebody, I guess, because he took my shit and put it on his platform. And, you know, I did shows and all that. But that made me like, that alone made me like, damn, I got a shot in this shit, you know? And I know the shit. I always question, like, damn, is it talent or is he doing this shit out of love? Or is it
right.
both? Or is it whatever? And then when my shit got better and better and better and better and better, I was like, he had to do that shit out of love because my shit wasn't.
And see, that's the thing, right? You'd be amazed that, like, okay, so people will see the potential in you that you won't even see.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying? They'll recognize it before you recognize it. And that's the weird thing about, like, the human interaction. You know what I'm saying? We may view ourselves one way, but then somebody else will come along and view us and hold us to a higher standard than how we see ourselves.
for sure.
And it's just basically, man, like people see they see that quality in you, man. Like they see that potential, and a lot of times you just got people in this world that just want to help you reach that potential.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? They want to, go by the old rule. Each one teach one. Paying it forward. You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that. So yeah, you got people who just want to see that potential blossom and be a part of that story. You know what I'm saying? And be a part of say, man, you know what? When nobody else believed in that young boy, I gave him some advice. When nobody wanted to show that young boy the road, I showed him the path. You know what I'm saying? Like leaving your mark. And that's what that's what I view. A lot of people just leaving their mark, bro.
yeah,
Building their story.
yeah. And you know, like I think I said his TC and Green Eye Bandits, but I love to give a shout out to Toy Crockett on this. I know he don't follow TC. If you listening to me in the middle of this shit, like I know a lot of the shit I say, you be like, God damn, he going wild. I ain't on none of that. But
Yeah.
that brother there, man, when I was 16, 17, heading to a dark path, he did that thing like a big unk, like, hey, he put me in that headlock. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
hey, bro, like, listen, and a lot of the shit I didn't listen to, be real with you.
Right.
But looking at it as an adult, and I'm doing it with young kids now, where I'm like trying to do the
Right.
same thing, and I'm like, fuck, I appreciate that motherfucker for doing that shit with
Right.
me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because Ocala, that's what we talking about. Like all the people we seen and so on and so. But it's a lot of people that we also seen that they didn't make it through.
Right.
And I feel grateful to have this platform. I could still be rapping and doing this and that, and you doing your thing on from the gutter, from where we from the mud,
Right. Right. Right.
and from the time me and you the same age, from the time we started from that bottom, how many people
Right.
we seen come up too, but they ain't still out here,
Right.
so it's a blessing, bro. Like it's a whole blessing. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the fact to see you doing music with substance.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Got to, man. Got to.
You ain't doing shit just to make motherfuckers jump up and down and this and that. Even like
Right.
with a track like Home Depot, where that bitch got that bitch got a hit on it, but like that shit just like that shit just got that fucking knock to it. It got I think it's a perfect track. But even with that, with the verses, you ain't selling no wolf tickets. It got substance to it. So like, you know, and we got our own sound. A lot of people may.
And that's the thing, man. Like you say, we got our own sound. It's just that the world need to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Because by us being where we at, you know what I'm saying, in Central Florida, it's like we kind of got like all the culture of Florida, really, because this like the center point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody passed through this bit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody passed through this bit. So the only thing is, like I say, it's just getting that sound out there so people can be familiar with it. So
the crazy part about where we from, for y'all who don't know, like about Ocala, right? From Ocala, you can get to every spot in Florida for like 3.5 hours. So like Miami is 3.5 hours. Jacksonville is an hour and a half, right? Gainesville, 30 minutes. Orlando, 1 hour. Tampa, hour and a half. Tallahassee, 2.5. So from every major city that you made, T-Pain mostly out of Tallahassee, Rose down there 3.5 hours away. So Ocala is a mixture of all of that Florida shit. It's just all that Florida shit in one.
Right.
So that's why, shout outs to Moot Boy. That's why,
Shout out to Moot Boy.
Shout outs to Moot. That's why it's for a Santana Banga fucking God body cheat code producer. He can, you know what I mean? You could take his lyrics. You know what I'm saying? You could take that fucking glitch in the system. You could take a nigga from an hour and a half away and take his lyrics and know exactly what to do on a beat.
Right.
With the lyrics. And for some of y'all that don't know that story, man, like that shit just popped up on the interview and I saw it and I was like, I told y'all this nigga bad. I told y'all this nigga bad. And you hear Moot Boy tell you himself, like, boy, that nigga ain't nothing to fuck with. And and I'm like, man, a year ago I told y'all this nigga was bad. Like, for the podcast, everybody always I get more compliments on me for the intros and shit than what the fuck I'm saying.
Right.
And the whole thing is like, hey, that same nigga I had on that first interview back in August-ish, whatever, that's the same one who came through for me when I was like, hey, Banger, man, I'm doing this podcast, bro. I'm trying to do this intro, right? And this the thought I had in mind. Say nothing less, bro. I got you. It was like, what? You don't need to hear like the idea I got? No, bro, I got you. Come through. So like that's some cheat code shit. You in the Matrix, nigga. I said this shit on my platforms this week. And it ain't no cap, ain't no none of that shit. Where I'm like, people love this nigga's producing talent. Like this nigga, everybody love this nigga's producing.
Right.
But where the real cheat code comes in is when this nigga raps on the beats he produces. That shit is amazing to me. Like I say, I feel it's a cheat code. Like if you was in competition on a fucking Sega Genesis in the 90s, nigga, I'd throw the remote down and walk the fuck out the room. Like just to be real with you. But like I see that shit as a cheat code, but at the same time, nigga, some shit that gotta be done. And that shit is fucking dope, man. Like when you look at it, because it's like you got you make all these different beats, bro. You make all these different beats. And at the same time, you got a message to get the fuck out. So, like, it got the substance, the meat and fucking potatoes, bro. So, nah, that shit is.
It's just like, when we talk about the substance of the songs, man, like one of my favorite songs, man, is Long Way Down.
That's my shit too.
Right, right. And it took for me to read a book to spark the, the concept of a song to, have me dig deep in personal situations in my life. Like it took a book for me to open that up, to open those memories back up. And for those who don't, know what book I'm talking about, the book title is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. It's a book written in verse, but it's a real powerful message in there. And I think any young black man or any parent should read that book to their kids. Or any older brother should read that to a younger brother. You know what I'm saying? Like it speaks about a cycle, a continuous cycle, man. That we in the black culture, we go through, and it's a never ending cycle, but somebody got to break the chain.
Yeah.
So like, you know, for me to read that book, be inspired to write a song like Long Way Down, and the message that I put in there is like, man, like these are the thoughts that go through your mind. I can't speak for nobody else. You know what I'm saying? I can only speak for, my reality, my thoughts, you know what I'm saying, and what, my pain and all that shit that I went through when I lost somebody close to me. Like, these are the type of thoughts that came to mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't want to get the lyrics away, y'all fuck with me. Go check the
Hey,
song out.
well, you
Long
gotta
Way
blame
Down.
motherfucking me, because I done played that bitch on fucking Niggas Surprise, Niggas Uprise,
Yeah.
a whole bunch. I mean, hey, when I first got a hold of that shit, I was bamming that shit on Niggas Uprise. Like, I think my first couple episodes of Niggas Uprise, I had that shit on the back end.
Right.
And
Right.
that Long Way Down pretty much say, the whole. So I got this whole movement where like I'm not on none of that Pan African shit.
Right.
I got respect for Dr. Umar and all them niggas like him for the groundwork they put in. Because at the end of the day, I'm a philosopher. I'm not an activist. I'm not out here we shall overcoming and this and that. If I overcome, I'm in some pussy. But, like I'm not on none of that shit. And so I got respect for them niggas that think they doing the best for our culture and our people. I ain't gonna knock them because I don't got the fucking answers. I don't. But that Long Way Down, that kind of fueled my fire when I heard that track. And I'm like, I'm on some Negro shit. I'm on some nigga shit. I'm on some, nigga, like, no, fuck that Pan-African shit, nigga. The niggas of America, nigga. I'm from Cotton Plant, Ocala, FL.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know the history of Cotton Plant. Like, people gonna hear this shit and be like, man, Mango country. It's like, yeah, I'm from that motherfucking region. Like I'm from, number one, I'm from Ocala, which is a small city, but in that small city, I'm from Cotton Plant. And
that's just like the excuses video, you know what I'm saying, that house in the background, that's the house I grew up in. That was my grandparents' house. That's why I decided to, film that video out there. And I ain't had no entourage or nothing, man. It was, just one of them solo type videos, man, because I had a lot I had to get off my chest. And, at the time, I done lost my uncle, somebody I held, real close to my heart. Had many conversations with, same as my grandma. And just recently lost my grandfather too. But at the time of that video, my grandfather was still alive, but we had lost my grandmother and my uncle. So it's like, like just going back and looking at the conversations I had with them in that very same house.
Yeah.
About, man, I'm finna do this, I'm finna do that, and it's just crazy that, they didn't really get to, experience, a lot of the success in the physical form, but it's still a blessing to be able to be related to them at the same time and have that history. You know what I'm saying? I can go back and those memories that I can go back and think about, like our dad Cotton Plant, man, that house right there was like everything. They used to have a farm out there.
mm-hmm.
All our cousins used to come out there. That was like the safe haven. Like, like anybody needed a place to stay, needed a hot meal, you know what I'm saying? Somewhere to take a shower, somewhere just to kind of get away from the city. Like that was the spot. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the spot for the family. So, like not having that, in the family no more. Like it's painful, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, especially us in the black community, we just got to do a little better, man. And you know, by that soil, and just set that foundation, man, and leave something behind, leave a legacy, leave something that these kids and, our families, you know, from years to come can have something to, hold on to, what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Something part of history.
And that's what kind of scared me. I mean, bro, from the 90s till now, it seemed like the world just moved so fucking quick, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, in other generations, I'm like from the 80s to the 90s, it wasn't that big of a change, right?
right,
Like you had a little bit of a shift in clothing, and from the 70s to the 90s, a definite shift in clothing and shit like that. But
right,
from the 90s to the fucking 2010s, boy, that was like a whole fucking, social media and all of
right,
it. Like, it's just a whole fucking different ball game, bro. And like, I look at the babies, and the babies don't got, I know people call it Big Mama. I don't really refer to it. I ain't never called my grandma Big Mama because she was little. But
yeah,
my grandma had the same mentality that people talk about with Big Mama. That's what my grandma had. You know what I mean? It's
right,
a country type vibe. Like you
right,
could show
right.
up at grandma's house with a friend, everybody eating.
Everybody,
You know what I
and they're
mean?
gonna get the same love.
Yeah, it's the
And they're
same.
gonna get
Like,
embraced with love. You know what I'm
baby, you
saying?
eat yet, baby?
Gonna get prayed for and all.
You know what I'm talking about? So like that's a whole different ball game where now like I don't see that as much. I mean,
Right, right.
it's a couple of them new grandmothers that keep that kind of tradition going. But then when
Man,
you
these TikTok grandmamas now, man.
you know, that's a crazy
This ain't no soul food grandmama no more.
but
This TikTok grandmama.
I seen a grandma on Twitter the other day, and she looked like she was about to go to the club and get some dick. Like, remember, this motherfucker was like 70 years old and bad as fuck. And she had her
No,
fucking
man.
sundress. She's talking some sundress season. Grandma was going to get some dick. She was going to get some young cat. She was going to fuck this shit. She was going to put some of that 19 fucking Jim Crow fucking
No,
pussy on this man. And I ain't even bullshitting with you. And I was like, bruh, she younger than my grandma, but she a grandma. You know what I mean? My grandma was, she wore that wig and she wore that Nick Cannon turban. And, that's what my grandma wore. And she wore a dress down to her ankles. That's what I knew grandma to be. And I'm
right.
looking at this grandma talking about, oh, it's sundress season. What the fuck you talking about? She got a full head of gray hair about to go fuck some young boy who couldn't get nothing else in the club.
Crazy.
But that's where we at now. It's 2022.
Yeah,
Especially fresh off
right.
COVID. Bitch done been locked in the house all night. Grandma wants some dick. So like,
Grandma.
grandma say, shit, you think it's a game? And we in a cosmetic age too, where it's like not like cosmetics, not just the surgery, but they got shit that can make up for the surgery if you ain't got the guts to get it. So, I see grandmas on these social media shit and they doing the little tummy bands and all this shit. And that shit, to me, that shit, I don't want to say crazy because I ain't trying to judge them, but like,
To each his own.
yeah, to each his own. But to me, that shit is totally different when I think of what a grandma should be.
Right.
But it's
right.
like grandmas in
But
2022.
that's the crazy part about everything, right? Like, that's just like with music, right? We adjust who we listen to
Mhm.
if they don't sound like the first album they put out.
Bet.
You know what I'm saying? Because you think about this is a world of change. Nothing stays the same.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's guaranteed in this bitch is death and a motherfucker hating you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
For sure.
you gonna get some love, but you gonna always experience some hate and you gonna die.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, but everything else changes. So it's like that's just like one of my favorite albums by T.I. was I'm Serious. That right there was like the dopest album. I could play that bit back to
That's
back
T.I.
to
best
back to
album. I
back.
man still ain't
You
forgave
know what I'm saying?
myself.
Like I could play that shit back to back. And it's not saying that, the rest of the music he put out is garbage. It's just like, my preference is I like what he did when he first came out. It was a
Yeah.
different sound. but we also got to respect that artists grow and they learn different. They learn more. You know what I'm saying? They learn more about life. So of course the content gonna change because they're changing. You know, if they was the same person they were when they dropped that album, they probably wouldn't even made it this far. You see
And
what I'm saying?
to
So
relate to
change
that,
ain't always bad. Change ain't always good. But at the same time, change is necessary.
it
It
three
has to happen.
artists. When you
It
mention
has to happen.
like the originality of them, right? The three artists where you like that. That's that. So T.I., I'm serious because it still ain't forgave myself, bro. To this day, to me, is T.I. hardest track to me.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
Gucci
I like my
Man.
favorite song. My favorite song by him is that I'm just doing my job.
Oh
And I think
shit.
I think I want to say I could be wrong, but I think Kanye West produced that bit.
I wouldn't doubt you because that bitch hard, bro.
I
Like
could be wrong, but I think Kanye got some
I'm
production
just
on there.
doing my
But either way it
job.
go,
But
like
oh yeah,
that shit right there was so hard,
that
bro.
was a hard
Like
ass fucking track. And like
yeah, man.
so when I look, I
It's
like
either him or just Blade. Just Blade. But I don't know. Man, let me look that shit up.
Ti. I'm serious. Gucci Man, Trap House. I was talking to my brother the other day, but I told him like everything Gucci dropped since Trap House, I compared to Trap House, and like I love Gucci, all the Gucci shit. For some reason, I just appeal to Gucci shit, right? But Trap
Right.
House is the fucking standard because I remember the
Yep.
first time I heard
Kanye
Trap
West.
House. God damn,
Kanye
and
West produced it. I knew that. I called that.
that's a hard ass fucking track, bro. Like
Yeah.
so the three artists was Ti, Gucci on that Trap House shit, and
Right.
Pastor Troy on Face Off.
Right.
And you it's a crazy thing about Face Off, right? I'm no shit, I'm trying to get Troy on my platform, right? I'm trying to book Troy. But
Right.
on that track he had vice versa, right?
Oh yeah.
Every track I had with Troy with the vice versa, it always edited it. You know, it'll go to that part, but she's and then like it'll like mix, right? Bruh, I was 29 years old when I heard the full thing. Like a nigga on YouTube, like I guess he done did some scientific engineering and flipped that shit. But even when you get the parental advisory, that bitch would be like edited out at that part, right?
Right.
And I heard what the nigga said. The nigga said, with the trigger nasty concubine is vice versa. Wait, I won't fuck it up. But the nigga was like, the Virgin Mary never fucked nobody, but she sucked dick. And that shit was in the middle of that bitch, bro. And
Right.
like, I had that shit from the time I was a jit until like I was 29. I always wondered because if it's true, baby, nobody. But you could just, that's what the shit sound like. And I was just like,
Right.
fuck with that. Like, bro, like, no shit. I remember the whole fucking song. And I'd be sitting there like an idiot doing the all that bullshit. And then when I turned 29, I started, like, it was like the full version on YouTube is what it was called. And when I listened to it, the nigga said, the Virgin Mary never fucked nobody, but she sucked dick. You know, I Troy it down. And I was like, God damn, that shit hard. And I think that nigga threw a behind that bitch. And I was like, you know, and that goes into like what you say, like, man, the artist, man, I don't believe in edited motherfuckers, right? So like, I was gonna ask you about this shit too, like with the mayor of New York, nigga talking about banning drill music and shit, right? And
Yeah.
I was kind of offended by that shit, right? Cause like, you know, I got the real nigga challenge on right now where I'm like, I want the Mangaloids and everybody who listen to me to not play music with niggas killing niggas.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm trying to shock the system. But at the same time, I think with a mayor, a politician, and maybe I'm a hypocrite. Fuck it, I'm not perfect. But a mayor talking about, I'm gonna put money and resources into stopping drill music on social media and da da da. And I'm like, nigga, your whole thing should be you put money and resources. Well, take that money and resources and put it into something like a trade or like a such and such where niggas, I don't believe that the music creates the environment. I believe that the music is a product of the environment.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this it's a fucking nigga.
I don't know, because music is influence, and you have a lot of kids nowadays that when we were growing up, bro. We were listening to Hot Boys, Boosie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of these cats that I ain't gonna lie, like kind of made you want to be a thug. It sounded fun. It sounded exciting. You know what I'm saying? It sounded like a rush. You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of made you. That's like when Baller Blocking came out the movie, which that shit was dope as fuck, by the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my favorite movie. Played a huge role in my childhood. But after watching that movie, like, man, you couldn't tell me shit. Like, I thought I was what I'm saying, a baby gangster. You know what I'm saying? I'm out there fighting niggas and all kind of shit. And I don't know if anybody remember the scene where they stopped a nigga outside the store where they were yelling out, "Whoa there, whoa there." Me and my brother made a gang out of that and called it Woden. And we would literally jump on cats from around the apartment complex. And once you get jumped by us, you a part of the gang. So we move on to jump the next person. Before you know it, we had like 30 people in this shit yelling out Woden, jumping niggas.
Yeah.
But we just looked at it like it was fun, but we didn't really understand like what we were doing at the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was just some fun shit. But we was influenced by what we seen. You know what I'm saying? And what we heard, what we chose to listen to. And for the most part, my mom tried to keep us away from listening to rap music. I ain't gonna lie, like she tried to keep us away from it. But I got older brothers, so when they, slid off, went down to Miami, came back with some Piccolo and you know what I'm saying, or some Trick Daddy, you know what I'm saying, or some goddamn what's my dude name?
Oh, JT.
JT Money.
JT
You know what
Money.
I'm saying?
Hit him,
Papa
Jay.
Duck, you know what I'm saying? Frank Lennon. When they came back with all these different, you know what I'm saying? All this different music, it's like, oh shit, like, you kind of get introduced to that side of life, and that's why I said music is influence, man. So I can't say that I agree with what the mayor, whoever, what I'm saying, doing. I agree with the
But
approach, what I'm saying, of trying
on
to
a
make a difference.
certain
And I
extent,
respect
though,
the fact that, somebody want to try to make a difference. But I don't think it's gonna change anything, man, because that's still building up that rebellious.
because that's the point I'm making, right? On a certain extent, right? Music is influence, right?
Right.
But who influenced the influencers? You get what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it's easy to hit at home when, like, for instance, right? The motherfucker who write Lord of the Rings, Tolkien. Shout out to South Park. I would have never remembered his name if it wasn't for South Park. But like,
Right.
fucking Tolkien, right? South Park, right? But if you seen a bitch walking through your neighborhood with a cloak on and talking about he going to meet Gandalf and shit, you would naturally assume that bitch was crazy.
Right.
So the influencers gotta say something that relate to you. It might be something small that relate to you. So
Right.
the influencers ain't making this shit up from like mid-earth and all of this other shit. The influencers are taking something from their real life and then relating that shit to a track, and it'll hit people that it relate to.
Right.
So, and the famous words of Willie D is, every ghetto is the same. My ghetto ain't no different from yours. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you're talking about the hip hop music, the rap music, the such and such, the hip hop culture, when they turn that shit into a movie, it's easy to hit a young adolescent child. You know what I mean? A young adolescent, because you may not click with it 100%,
right,
but 50% you will see it in your community. You know what I mean? So,
right,
so it come from somewhere. So the whole idea of I'm gonna spend millions of dollars to block this shit on the internet is the dumbest fucking shit I ever heard. When you could say I'm gonna spend millions of dollars to, on the flip side of that, let me introduce a trade school program, or let me introduce a trade to this and that.
But that's the thing, though, bro. That's the thing too. Like, everybody think differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this man probably feel like that's the all in truth. That's the final. That's what's going to make a change. Like in his mind, he may truly believe that that's what's going to change everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't make him stupid. That don't make him, ignorant or anything. It just make that's that's his solution.
It,
And none of us had an answer to this shit.
what
We
to,
can throw ideas of how to stop this shit, but the only way to find out is by doing something. You know
and
what I'm
that's the
saying? As
catch
long as we
though.
do something.
That's the catch though, right? Because it don't make him stupid, right? It just make him full of shit. Because like it really just make him full of shit. And the New York, like, bruh, on this interview, bruh, I know I want you to get your shit. I want to get your shit out to the world. And this might cause some controversy. Anybody listening to me, the mayor of New York is full of shit. And I'm gonna say that like Mango said that himself. Fuck that motherfucker, he full of shit. Because the one thing when you talking about I'm gonna ban drill music off the internet and da da da, that means you're not in tune with the culture. And like
Right.
I say with me, I don't really fuck with the drill music per se. I support all these young niggas, man. They could rap about smoking a million packs and this and that. And I ain't gonna sit here and be like, fuck that nigga there. I ain't gonna do that shit because that's another young brother. And whatever the fuck he went through, that's what he went through. Like, and such and such. The one thing I ain't gonna do is stop his bag because that bag, like the artist that you trying to stop from social media that's making playlists and this and that, the one thing about that artist is maybe him rapping is stopping him from robbing some old fucking black lady. So now granted, I want to tell them niggas, hey, listen, we the only culture that's going, these white people are going to promote and capitalize off. They're going to capitalize off of, and blah, blah, blah. So that's another way to hit that bag. But that's my perspective. But for him to say, hey, basically what he doing, what pisses me off is I'm black, so listen. And that's that bullshit because he don't listen.
That's why, politics aside, that's why I feel like it's up to, us quote unquote ones who know better, that experience some things and got a message, you know what I'm saying? And you break like the form of how you put your message out there through a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I put my message out there through my music and with people who I interact with on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm always by that each one teach one, iron sharpen iron. You know what I'm saying? I'm always on. I never miss an opportunity to kind of uplift somebody or spread some type of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So like we all have different forms and ways of how we do that. But that's why I feel like it's up to us as creators, you know what I'm saying, to put that message out there. Even while, politics, these politicians, they put their own methods of how they feel like this was going to change this, that, and third. We still got to do our part. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, that goes back to songs like Long Way Down.
Our part is the biggest part.
You know what I'm saying? That's why, that song right there, it stands so real because it's like, it's like we playing Wheel of Fortune out here.
Yeah.
Who gonna spin? You know what I'm saying? Who turn it is now? You know what I'm saying? It's like, we got to break that cycle. We got to understand and see the value in ourselves in order to see the value in somebody else. And a lot of times, man, like we don't see that value in ourselves. So we go out there and do, some nut ass shit or some knucklehead shit. Or some crazy shit, you know what I'm saying? Like because we don't really see the value in ourselves. We don't understand like what it is that we are, why we here. You know what I'm saying? Where we at and why we are who we are. We don't see that. We not taught to see that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That shit come in time. That shit come with more and more. The further and further you walk this path of life, the more and more lessons gonna get thrown at you. You know what I'm saying? And if we not taking heed to any of that, then, we just failing all the way around.
Yeah.
But like I say, a lot of times, these adolescents, they don't see their value. They don't understand their value. So they just throw decisions out there just for the hell of it. You know what I'm saying? We're not taught the importance of decisions that we make. We just taught, you know what I'm saying? Hey, live your life. You know what I'm saying? Go to school, do this with your life.
Yeah.
You know, we not taught the importance of the decisions that we make. So until we understand that, you know, that's where the growth come in at. But at the same time, we got to give these people a chance to live their life. You can't come at no goddamn 19, 20-year-old and try to tell them, hey man, you can't be doing this. You can't. They still gonna do what they want to do. It's that rebellious spirit. It's gonna be there.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to live and learn for themselves. We can develop that conscience. That's why I say like young kids, man, they precious. You know what I'm saying? That from that newborn up to that age of 10, like those are precious times to develop that conscience in them babies. You know what I'm saying? That's why we got to continue to try to correct them when they do wrong. Develop that conscience because they still gonna make their own decisions. We
Yeah.
can't control what they do, but we can develop that conscience in their mind so that when they get older, it's gonna come in the form of their own voice, but it's gonna be, you know, daddy said, oh daddy, you know what I'm saying? I remember this. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Don't do this. Hey, chill out, slow down. Think about this. Think about that. You see what I'm saying? Like, we got to do our part as parents. You know what I'm saying? We got to do our part as, you know, adults, not just as a parent, just as an adult. You see a child walking down the street, man, you know what I'm saying? Or walking with a group of kids and you see they up to no good, throw a message out there.
And
You know what I'm
you
saying?
know, that
Say
goes
something.
back to what we was talking about when we was talking about, like, when I said grandmothers and big mothers and big mamas and
Right,
shit like that, right?
right,
Because, you know, I'm gonna tell you a personal story on my behalf, man. I remember I was a jit, right? And I ain't even raised with my mama. You know what I mean? I grew
right,
up. I started off with my grandparents and shit like that, right? But my mama was right down the street. You know what I'm saying?
right,
And I remember I found some glass bottles, right? And I started breaking them bitches. I just felt like breaking them. I was slamming them bitches up against. I was in Parkside Gardens. You
right,
know what I mean? And I was breaking them bitches. And this lady went and told my mama. She called my mama from the corner. And I wasn't even
right.
raised with my mama. But she said, man, he over here breaking bottles on the corner over here. And I said, mama, that bitch lying. I said it just like that. Mama, that bitch lying. Because I had comfortability because I wasn't raised with my mama,
Right,
right? My mama came around that corner with a belt and beat my ass,
right,
right? And I thought she would beat my ass. And she stopped and she said, I ain't beat you for fucking breaking them bottles. You don't ever talk to your elders like that.
right,
And you know, I was like, you know, I was mad, I was bitter and this and that, but I ain't never forget that story.
right,
I ain't never forget that motherfucking story, bro. And I
right,
always, like, that alone taught me respect my elders.
right.
You know what I mean? And it was a subconscious ass whooping. Like, straight up. You know? Because to this day, I ain't never forget that motherfucking story. And I had to be about 7 or 8.
Right,
Great,
right.
one of the greatest ass whoopings I ever took in my life. And that's from my
And you know
mama.
what too? And then you know what this way too. I don't know if this even on the subject. It may be a little off, but you know, just listen to what you just said kind of reminded me of, you know what I'm saying, some things, man. So okay, like I stated before, you know, my grandfather just passed away, right?
Yeah.
And you
Hey,
know,
rest in
before
peace
then,
to
you
that
know,
God. Rest in peace to that
yeah,
God before I
man,
go
rest
forward.
in peace, GD. You know, so and before that, you know, my grandmother passed, and then before that, my uncle passed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was blessed with the opportunity, you know, we're gonna talk about time and awareness. I was blessed with the opportunity as an adult to come to them and apologize for anything I've ever done wrong, anything I blamed them for, you know, even though I knew the love was unconditional, you know what I'm saying? Even though I knew they loved me regardless, just the fact that, you know, I'm a responsible grown ass man and I need to own up to, you know what I'm saying, my own faults. And, you know, I can't just sweep that under the rug. A lot of things that I've done, like I can't just sweep it under the rug. You know, I used to get into fist fights with my grandma, fist fights with my granddaddy. You know what I'm saying? And it's like looking back at it, man, you know, as an adult being able to, you know, come up to them and say, you know what, I apologize for everything I've done. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't even apologizing thinking about one day they gonna be gone. It was just in that moment I was like, man, you know what, I never apologized to y'all. I
Yeah.
never told y'all I was sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, man, like we don't get that opportunity. A lot of people don't get that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? You don't get that opportunity to say, you know what, I was sorry or I was wrong or, you know, forgive me and none of that. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of times we just do what we do and keep on moving and blame everybody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody to blame. but at the same time, we don't hold ourselves accountable for what we done.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So like, being able to, look my grandma in the eyes, look my granddad in his eyes, and tell them like, you know what, I'm sorry for, what I put y'all through. Like, cause I was a troubled teen, man. I like to say I was misunderstood, but and that's just me trying to, uh, not, kind of not paint a picture of me being a, I'm saying, a knucklehead and nothing like that, man. But I was a badass jit, and
Yeah.
it just, like I said, but growing up, man, like looking back at all those times and being able to apologize to them and see that smile and allow them to see the growth in me, knowing where I came from, is like that right there was like a unmatched feeling. Like ain't nothing in the world feel like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Feel better than that. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I don't know if that was on the subject, off the subject, but it just kind of brought that back up to me.
Ain't no such thing as on or off the subject, bro. We talking to
Right,
Involuntary Immigrants podcast, man. And
right, right,
that's the one thing, bro. Like for this last couple of weeks, I've been on somewhat of an elder path, right? Because with this whole shit with like Ukraine and Russia, and I've been going back and forth with people and shit, and even with myself, where you talking about like the elders and this and that, right? To bring it to that point where I've been trying to tap into like, damn, I wish my grandma was here. Because no bullshit, I've been lost in the sauce, man. Like how my shit worked. Like my grandmother was born on leap year, and for me, she died in 2006 in February, the month of her birthday. And my grandmother was somebody that gave me a whole lot of wisdom. You know what I mean? My grandmother was somebody that's the person who raised me up. If it wasn't for my grandma, I wouldn't have this platform right now. Because my grandmother told me about what her grandmother told her about. My grandmother from Alabama. So my grandmother one of them people that told me about back in the days, and she told me about the Martin Luther King, the Malcolm X's, and the all this and that. And no shit, every time I do some research on this type of, when it come down to a platform for our people, I think about my grandma. Like when I record an episode, I think about like, damn, I wonder if my grandma like listening. And she been gone from me for all this time. So that's why I did that episode where I was like, respect the elders and this and that. And like, no shit, bro. I be wishing like, damn, I wish she was here to see this type of shit that I'm doing now. Because on the time where she left, I didn't have the wisdom to do what you did, where you had the ability to like apologize for adolescent shit. You know what I mean? And I didn't have that. You know what I mean? So like, I was still legit, and when you a jit is dumb. At least for my behalf, I was dumb as fuck. You know what I mean?
Legit, you green.
I'm dumb. I'm worse than green. I'm the worst type of green. Like I was green before, and now I'm just dumb as fuck. Right? Like I was green in middle school. Right? I was green. I just grew up fast. And I felt like, damn, I'm blessed. Because I see my uncle, and my uncle is who I learned from. All my uncles who I learned from. I learned from my uncles more than I learned from my daddy. You know what I mean? So I'm green then. But around the time my grandmother passed, I'm like 17. At 17, I'm dumb as fuck. Not at the time, though. At the time, I'm the smartest nigga on earth. And I can't figure out why these niggas done fucked up so much. Because I got all the motherfucking answers, right? And my grandmother passed and all this and that. And, when my grandmother passed, that's when I started questioning a lot of shit. You know what I mean? So looking at that shit now where it's like 2 decades later, and I was like, boy, I thought I had that shit, but I was dumb. I was dumber than a motherfucker. A lot of people know I work with the youth and this and that. And a lot of them young cats sound like me when I was 17, 16, where I had all the answers. And I be talking to them and I be like, God damn, boy, you sound like me, man. God, you dumber than a motherfucker, but I don't want to tell him you dumb. I want to tell him, like, the world is yours. But at the same time, in my mind, I'm like, boy, you dumber than a motherfucker. You the dumbest motherfucker I done met since me. You dumbass motherfucking jit. You know,
Right.
but I don't want to crush their spirit because they, like,
Right.
just like me, when they say some dumb shit, they believe that shit. You know?
Right.
And I be trying to give them hints, like,
They be some nut ass niggas, man.
and them jits, man. And you know what I think? That's one of the things where I think, like, the culture now is so much different than when I was. So when I was 17, it was 2006. The last time I was 17, it was 2006. So I think how, like, different the world is. 2006, MySpace was just getting off.
Right.
MySpace, my nigga. And MySpace just getting off, I thought I had the keys to the universe, my nigga. Like, Facebook Square now. And Facebook took off after MySpace. Like, Facebook eradicated MySpace. But now Facebook is low-key Square. Where now you got Snap, Insta, TikTok, like all of this shit. And I'm like, God damn. And I thought I was dumb back then. These just dumb.
Right.
But I still respect. I never wanted to be one of them old heads where I'm like, little nigga, you stupid as fuck.
Right.
You know what I mean? I always want to be one of them OGs where I'm like, hey, bro, like, don't let that shit fool you. Don't let that shit fool you. You know what I mean? Rather than hating on the jitterbugs. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the one thing that the jitterbugs is missing, the most important things the jitterbugs is missing, is I think that Big Mama vibe, bro. Like,
Right.
OG's been around since forever. I can hit OG status, you can hit OG status, and we could talk to them jitterbugs. And even though a lot of that Big Mama status, Big Mamas didn't talk to us. And I'm saying Big Mamas, you know what I mean. You know, I get it, man. The coach is a total shock. What you got new coming for these people, Banger? Talk to them. Tell them what
Man,
you got.
I got a lot coming, man. You know, today I did some location scouting, you know what I'm saying, for upcoming video. Also locked in with this new videography studio to get some video done, you know, working on a movie, working on a book, new music coming out. You know, it's a lot, man. I can't even narrow it down to just one thing. It's just, you know, it's a whole bunch of stuff going on right now, man. You know, and everybody just gotta wait to see, you know, the end result of it all.
So for all the people who didn't listen last time, and all the people who, I mean, this might be somebody's first time listening to this platform. So tell them where they can find you. Tell them where they can find you everywhere you want them to find you at.
And they can find me Instagram, you know, at Santana Banga, Facebook at Santana Banga, Twitter at Santana Banga, YouTube, you know, Santana Banga 100, which is 100. Yeah, that's mainly my main right there. And of course, you know, across all streaming platforms, you know, it's Santana Banga, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, uh, Tidal, everything, you know, it's Santana Banga.
And if you scared to talk to them, hit me up. I damn sure pass the message. But if I'm be real with you, if you hit me up talking about, bro, I can rap, bro, tell them give me some beats. I'm gonna ignore you. I'm gonna be straight up with you. I'm gonna ignore the fuck out of you. Real talk, you know, you got a better chance of writing him with that than me, because I feel like my brother deserve. I feel like he should be charging niggas more than what he charged niggas for.
Right.
And I feel like my brother's way worth than more. Maybe even my brother think he's worth, because this man is the realest nigga in the industry.
Yeah.
And I could say that without hesitating, because I know this man personally. I know this Negro personally. And this is one of the realest niggas I know in my life personally.
Love, man.
And
it's vice versa too. You already know, first quarter.
For sure.
Yeah,
and
love, bro.
I ain't put a lot of that on the first time me and him was on this platform. You know what I mean? I ain't put a lot of that on there because I'm a baby with this platform. You know, and I'm talking to outsiders. If y'all can tune in to me and this brother conversation, you would probably like be rejuvenated into the Dalai Lama or some shit. Cause me and my brother talk way more than y'all hear us talk. And that was the hardest thing with interviewing my brother. And I was trying to like I'm gonna tell him. I was trying to come up with like, you know, it's hard to interview somebody you know personally. You got love for personally, especially if I'm not a professional. I'm a philosopher. I'm a nigga that just so happened to have a good mic and a platform.
Right.
And this, you know, I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not none of them motherfuckers. Y'all come to me for real shit. Y'all don't come to me. I don't charge you and whatever. So, for me doing the interview with him, and this is a legit God, you know what I mean? This is a legit man, you know.
Right.
That's what it is. So, Bang, I mean, you could tell him you're welcome.
Yeah, man, y'all welcome, man. You know, y'all done heard from the glitch. The glitch in the matrix, man. Like I say, Florida's go-to producer, man. You know, y'all know what it is, man. You know, phenomenal artist, phenomenal producer, phenomenal writer. You know what I'm saying? You know, youth motivator, all that, man. Like, all that.
After this interview, he no longer a producer. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, he's the artist. Banger. Like, he's great at producing, but after this shit, like, sorry, Banger, the artist, because my brother music is harder than his production.
Right.
Substance. Real Nigga Challenge 2022, I told y'all, is all about substance. No dead bodies, no none of that shit. It's substance, man. And this one of the only cats in the game bringing it to you. I want to say, hey, I don't know if you can hear this on your end, but I want to say one shout out to Santana Banga. Hey, and my brother started his own company. He started his own company, and the one thing I like to say, shout out to Miller Boy Records. Niggas starting a lot of Jim Crow Joe done fucked up. Forgive me, bro. Jim Crow Joe done fucked up clothes, housing, shelter, and transportation. That's many of the 4 jewels. So shout out to my brother for starting this company. As he told y'all, he getting his building and all that shit. So another time for him.
Miller Boy Records, man. He be the hottest record label coming out of Central Florida. You know, so stay tuned, man. You know, stay tuned.
Food, clothing, shelter, and transportation fucked up from Jim Crow Joe. So to see my brother doing what he doing, man, one love, man. And I want to thank y'all for listening, and I hope y'all stay blessed. And as I always say, one love to y'all families, and one love to the Involuntary Immigrants Nation, baby.
Much love, big love. Trust it.
Yeah. Oh. In the game. Look, I've been going through it my life. Little nigga scar. Look, I've been going through a lot. Life left a nigga scar. Duck the po-po, I ain't trying to see them bars. Home Depot, better keep a nail on your boy. Do it dolo, they can't tell on your boy. I've been going through a lot. Life left a nigga scar. Duck the po-po, I ain't trying to see them bars. Home Depot, better keep a nail on your boy. Do it dolo, they can't tell on your boy. Do my dirt all by my lonely, can't a nigga tell on me. Got a big scale on me, and I got them bills on me. I can sell water to a well, fish scale, homie. Your shit fight, but it ain't got this smell on it. Swerving all through traffic, red eyes of the Hellcat. I seen the popos, I hit the gas, this a scat pack. You see the my back against the wall. Nobody to call on, so a nigga roll dolo. Selling pounds out the trap, dog say need FOMO. In the gang be the logo, in the trap house my mascot. Smoking on this good gas, catches out till I pass out. Ain't no time to crash out, bowls in a stash house. Every time I see them boys, fuck it, I'ma mash out. Going through a lot, life left a nigga scar. Duck the po-po, I ain't trying to see them bars. Home Depot, better keep a nail on your boy. Do it dolo, they can't tell on your boy. I been going through a lot, life left a nigga scar. Duck the po-po, I ain't trying to see them bars. Home Depot, better keep a nail on your boy. Do it dolo, they can't tell on your boy. Look, I don't take L's, I learned a lesson, then I shook back. We don't take L's, it came with it, that's a state tax. But it be clear, sound like a statement on these diss tracks. Let me be clear, don't tell a soul about your get back. I be dolo cool and shit real, this ain't a movie. I'm by the bankroll, these niggas crashing by some coochie. I'm known to lay low, can't let a fuck nigga do me. Pop out the peephole, this ain't no fuck nigga stupid. I keep my head to the sky, bet God know me. Shit, I know I look handsome, I keep all eyes on me. I know a few steppers, but that's only for plan B. I really can't care less what these niggas thinking about me. The struggle taught me to be wise and never hold back. So if it come down to it, shit, I ain't gon' hold back. Ain't shit new to me, it's the reason your boy bad. I don't take L's, I learned a lesson, then I shook back. I been going through a lot, life left a nigga scar. Duck the po-po, I ain't trying to see them bars. Home Depot, better keep a nail on your boy. Do it dolo, they can't tell on your boy. I been going through a lot, life left a nigga scar. Duck the po-po, I ain't trying to see them bars. Home Depot, better keep a nail on your boy. Do it dolo, they can't tell on your boy.
Involuntary, done contrary to or without choice. Immigrant. Definition 1. A person who immigrates. Definition 2. A plant or animal that becomes established where it was previously unknown.